me bring to the show Youssef Alshammari, editor-in-chief at CMarkits. Good evening, Youssef, and thank you for joining us.
Hello, Alexandra. Very happy to join you.
Well, Youssef, exactly. I wanted to start with your new review because I saw it in the social media. What is CMarkits forecasting for the energy market considering the low demand?
Demand this year has been not as expected compared with the previous years. It's not a real demand. As you know, the factors that we all know between the US and China trade wars that has affected the global growth, and as a result, slowing Chinese economy will lead to slowing or declining on oil demand. So our expectations for oil demand since mid of this year has been about a growth by about 880,000 barrels a day, while the EIA and OPEC have shown a demand of about 1 million barrels, and they kept reducing their forecast. Just their latest forecast from the EIA was very close to our forecast at about 890,000 barrels a day. That's forecast for 2019. On the other hand, we have the supply of OPEC and non-OPEC, the rising of shale oil production, especially from within the non-OPEC production, and now it is expected to reach about 12.4 as an average total shale production in 2019. Our forecast at CMarkits was a growth on shale production by 1.7 million barrels only in this year. That is slightly higher than what the EIA has reported by about 400,000 barrels. On the other hand, you also this year, as you know, the major story for this year was the attack on Aramco production, which led to a 50% decline in the company's production by 5.7 million barrels, and which led to a dumping in the prices by about $5 to $10 as according to our expectations. And now prices are coming back to their pre-attack level. Currently, the exports from Saudi Arabia are coming close to their pre-attack level at about 6.89 million barrels a day, and production is expected to reach 9.89 Saturday. That's the production of Saudi Arabia, which is equal to its pre-attack level. However, that does not mean that the repair of the damage from the plant is complete yet. However, that Aramco is capable to reach that production capacity that is able to produce its production target.
And Youssef, exactly as your actually website is saying, this week market mover in terms of energy sector is definitely what happened in Saudi Aramco, actually with the Saudi Aramco oil facilities. Is this, how can I say, time lapse in which they said that they're going to restore output feasible in your opinion, which is by the end of September?
In fact, they have already restored their production target, so they can now meet. They currently by Saturday they're expected to produce 9.89 from that particular with that particular plant coming back online. However, the production capacity is expected to reach 11 million this month and 12 million end of October. So, reaching that production capacity in October certainly is an ambitious target, but I do not exclude that. I think it is possible.
Well, that's very, very interesting. Certainly, Saudi Aramco is an extremely rich company, so they absolutely can invest in order to, restore their facilities, old facilities. But what I also wanted to ask is, do you envision their IPO in their domestic market within actually the schedule they had previously? Before the attacks.
Currently the announced date for the listing Aramco and the Saudi Stock Exchange is October So that's the national listing. And I believe this was published by Bloomberg, and I believe they will go ahead with that schedule. And this announcement came actually after the attack.
All right. On the other side, if we get back to the oil market, are you bullish on it, and do you expect a lower or even higher prices, let's say till the end of the year? Because we have analysts who are they're divided in terms of their opinion, because one are saying, okay, we're going to have an increase of the market, and others are saying we're absolutely bearish in terms of oil prices because of the demand issues, despite this, how can I say, very, very short shock caused exactly by the attacks on the Saudi Aramco's oil facilities. So are you bullish or you're rather bearish?
Well, I would say I am in between. In fact, the two forces are available. If I would say I am bearish, there are some factors that would make me think of to be bearish, and that would include the return of the supply. However, there are some bullish factors. That possible conciliation between the US and China, as recently announced by President Trump. So I think still the prices will be between 60 and 64 towards the end of this year.
Between 60 and 64 toward the end of this year. That's that's a very high price still.
Yeah, for Brent.
Oh, for Brent, okay.
For WTI, I would think between 55 and 60.
All right. I know you're covering the energy market, but what is your opinion regarding the gold? Because we are seeing very high levels of the gold in the last few days, which is pretty normal considering what is going on all around the world. There are geopolitical crises across the entire planet. So far, gold is $1,507 an ounce, which today in particular it's up by 0.2%. Do you expect even higher prices for the gold?
Well, gold prices have reached a very high level, and at the beginning of September, they've reached about 1,560, and at the beginning of September. And I believe that was their maximum, and then now they are going down because of the rising concerns and global recession. But I don't think they will rise again. They will increase again in this year. I believe they have reached already their maximum, and the sharp rise in these prices was led by people trying to avoid or save their assets and save commodities. That would include the gold, and that happened actually in the beginning of September.
Yeah, extremely interesting period for the commodities. All right, thank you very much, Youssef Alshammari, Editor-in-Chief, CMarkits. Thank you for joining us.
Always a pleasure, Alexandra. Thank you for having me.
Well, let's get back to the US indices once again and have a